Okay, so today I'm going to talk about depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, which is something that I've suffered for a few years now, since an incident which I'd rather not discuss, and was then made a lot worse by the fact I nearly bled to death following a tonsillectomy a couple of years ago. I would say it kind of started creeping up gradually, and it was every so often that I'd feel like something really, really bad was going to happen, like I was falling into a very deep hole, or if I really needed help, or if something really bad happened, then nobody would come and nobody would help me. Because that's what happened with the tonsillectomy. It took the ambulance about 2 hours to get me to hospital, by which time I'd lost a lot of blood, and I did think I was going to die. I've written about that in quite depth on my blog, if you want to check out my blog. But I've decided to start talking about depression because I think that it's something people assume you can pull yourself out of. Now, I'm the kind of person that, ever since being younger, I'm quite over the top, I'm quite attention seeking, I'm quite talkative with people that I know, but deep down I'm actually quite quiet. I mean, with my family, I'm a different person to how I can come across sometimes. I think it's a front a lot of the time. Inside I am quite shy, and I don't have massive self-esteem due to bullying at school, but I'm not somebody that generally gives up. I have gone through quite a lot in the past 10 years or so, and I've tended to just carry on and fight through it, and I'm not the kind of person that, let's say, would just be able to put up with having depression. If anybody could pull themselves out of depression, I would. But sadly, that's not possible, which I have learned the past few years. I'd say before I had it, maybe I was a little bit ignorant as well. Maybe I thought that it was just feeling sad, feeling a bit down today, or an off day really that every person has. But depression's different. It is a very, very, very dark place to go to. It's very consuming. It feels like you're falling into a very, very deep hole, or that you're walking around in a black cloud, and that cloud's going to swallow you up and never let you out. I have anxiety as well, and so generally I overthink stuff, I panic, I do have panic attacks, and it's hard to explain, but once I've got a panicky thought in my head, I will go over and over and over it, getting myself into a state is all I can describe it as, over sometimes really minor things. Depression is something that sadly a lot of creative people suffer with. Recently Robin Williams took his own life after a very long battle with depression, and most people saw him as the funny man, the comedian, yet underneath he was suffering very terribly. And people with depression generally do smile and come across as very happy or very bubbly, and usually that's the complete opposite of how they're feeling inside. With myself, I find the more over the top, the more loud I am, the more silly I am, is usually the time when I'm at my most depressed because I'm trying to cover it up, which makes it even harder for people to understand. But that is my mechanism for coping, and it's something that I do, and that's how I deal with it. It's very hard for my friends and family, my boyfriend as well. He's very, very supportive, and you know, if I need a hug or anything, he's there for me. But sometimes, a lot of the time when your depression's bad, there is just nothing anybody can do. People will say, think about something nice, or why don't we do something to take your mind off of it. Now it doesn't work like that. You could win the lottery and you would still feel depressed. And also, along with the depression, I find my worst symptom is the numbness. I'm currently on medication. I don't think that the medication is causing the numbness, but sometimes it can. My numbness is caused by, my counsellor said, too much stimulation of the mind, too much anxiety. Maybe when I can't deal with any more problems, like I've got a lot going on at the moment with thinking about my fertility and my fibroid, and he said that when the brain can't take anymore, the brain switches off feelings so that it's protecting itself from damage, basically. So the numbness is your brain's way of protecting you. But I think the numbness is probably one of the hardest things to deal with, because it's better to feel sad or happy than to feel nothing, empty. And it's very, very, very upsetting to tell people that you feel numb and empty when they feel joy, happiness. My boyfriend, for example, when he says, oh, I love you, you know, I'm really happy, and then I feel very, very hollow and empty, I worry so much that they will take it personally when it's nothing to do with them, it's just my illness. Post-traumatic stress is something that I'd like to go into with you with more detail another day. Obviously I don't want every single video to be very depressing and very down. A few years ago, a couple of my friends from school, I say friends because they're not really friends, because I noticed they'd disappeared off my friends list on Facebook, and when I questioned them on it, they replied that they'd done it because they didn't want to keep reading depressing or negative status updates about me being ill, because it made them feel bad and it made them feel low, and they just found it depressing, and why couldn't I just be positive and happy? Safe to say that I'm not friends with those girls anymore, and I don't class them as friends at all, but it just shows that some people just cannot deal with these things. But things are slowly improving, I hope, and with videos like this I hope that people can start to open their eyes a bit more and see behind the front and see behind this exterior, and see that not all illnesses are visible. As I said, I'm not going to be negative throughout every single blog, but I'm trying to raise awareness for invisible illnesses, and I'm trying to tell it as it is. And for me to do that, you know, it is going to be sometimes hard hitting. So I'll ask if you bear with me, and if you're willing to broaden your horizons and open your mind a bit. Thank you.